a good thing to have humor in working with hospice patients and the dying patients and the bereaved families, because we must learn to laugh at ourselves, and because humor is a way of lightening up the seriousness of the situation.
That was Sister Loretta Maguire. She's magnificent. She works with dying patients. It's her calling, just like it's my calling to share with you how humor and laughter is possible in the grieving process to get us through it and how we get through it. Memento Mori, welcome back. This class is going to show us when people are actively dying how humor is possible to bring into it, and why it's not only important for the person going through it, but the caregiver, the person providing it, to do it. This isn't the one just on caregiving. That's the next one after this. But this is from Patch Adams, the real guy. The guy the movie was made about, Patch Adams, Dr. Bowen White, who's his best friend, one of his best friends, and clowning partner, how they bring humor and laughter into that process, and Sister Loretta Maguire. Enjoy this. Wait, isn't that weird? Enjoy this when we're talking about death. And that's the point. We can. It's funny. It's honest. And it helps us get through it. Memento Mori.
The sense of laughter for myself as a hospice worker, okay, I don't then become so embroiled in the moment. I'm able to step back and be hopefully a catalyst to every person in there.
I would enter rooms where there were 3 starving children per bed, 8 beds to a room. And so in one panorama you watch 24 mothers on the day their child is dying.
They have this self-inflating whoopee cushion, and they're playing with this guy dying of cancer. And he sees the whoopee cushion, and he sees what it does, and literally they play for 15 or 20 minutes with the whoopee cushion.
And it was the first time I was in a hospital that didn't have any pain medicine.
And he is belly laughing. He is having so much fun.
Now, you're still a doctor, and I realized that I could walk in a room where a child had bone metastasis and the mother hadn't seen them not screaming in 4 or 5 months.
I mean, you're in the moment with that person, and there's this instant experience of community with them. And you feel grateful you get to be in that moment with that other person.
They scream all day long in blood-curdling screams, and then they get exhausted and fall asleep, and when the exhaustion wears off, they start screaming again. And it was a shock for me to see that 80% of the time I could walk in the room, and if I stayed an hour, the child would be pain-free.
That human contact, I mean, it's, you know, it's the best.
I have often thought that I was more happy for the mother than for the child. The child is dying, and maybe it notices an hour of pain-free, but the mother sure notices it.
The seriousness of dying, the heaviness of dying, can be overbearing and overpowering.
I notice if I am overwhelmed by it and saddened by it and angry by it, well, then I become it.
I have to do something that breaks that terrific heaviness.
So when I'm in a room with someone dying, I'm going to make it a fun, loving experience.
I know this probably sounds disrespectful, but it's a sign of humor too. People will say, well, how were things today? And I say, deadly.
What would you say when people said, that is so wrong that you're laughing at stuff like that?
Well, I say, why not laugh?
I call up Patch one day, you know, and I say, hey, Patch, how's it going? He says, Mom died last night. You know, and I'm thinking, Mom died last night. I'm trying to think of what's the right thing to say, and my wheels are spinning. I'm not coming up with anything, and then his other line rings, and he said, it's probably the funeral home. I need to take this. Hold on. So I'm with my own thoughts. Okay, Patch's mom has just died. What's the right thing to say? And whenever you're trying to think of the right thing to say, it's a problem. And he comes back before I figure it out. So he gets back on the phone. He says, okay, I'm back. I was telling you Mom died last night. I said, well, was she lucid? And he said, well, she couldn't get a job. and that just, my wheels quit spinning, and I knew, tell me about it. I knew, I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear the story, and he tells me this incredible story about how 2 nights before she'd lost bowel and bladder control, and she was very embarrassed about the whole thing, and he got her out of bed and took her in and gave her a bath and put her diaper on her and took her back to bed after cleaning up her bed. And it was a very tough night for her the night before, but last night, after everybody went to bed, he got out photograph albums of her whole life and went through her whole life with her. And he got up the next morning and she was dead. And I thought, wow, what a beautiful story, what a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful that he broke the ice and helped me, you know, with his playfulness, be able to get to hear that story.
I'm just a catalyst to help him maybe see another way. So I don't go into a home with these great expectations that I'm going to change him. But I do go into a home asking the help of God to help me know what to say to family members that will help them deal with the dying and the grief that follows.
There really is nothing that I can say to add to what you just felt, learned, saw, listened, the insight that Bowen, Patch, and Loretta gave you. Just because it's serious doesn't mean we can't laugh at it, and just because we're laughing at it doesn't mean it's not serious. That's the bottom line. That's why we can do it. The next series coming up, well, no, not the next series, the next class. The next class coming up is with my great buddy, Johnny Rollins. Johnny Rollins is going to take us through the caregiving process when his dad was dying. Johnny Rollins is a magnificent man. His father was one of the funniest, nicest people, and showed as a caregiver, this is one of the hardest parts for you, the caregiver, all of us, is how do you find humor and laugh through that? Johnny and his dad are going to show you how. See you in the next class. Memento Mori. Keep laughing, think funny.